Some have called it a Massachusetts miracle. Over the past 2.5 decades, the state's public school system comes to be regarded as the best in the nation.
It's been a great 25 years. What a run.
It began with what lawmakers called a crisis in education.
Time has come for us to do something about education reform. Too many of our kids are mired in systems of mediocrity or abject failure.
Minority and low-income students were gathered in underperforming and overcrowded schools.
You will find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classrooms in the basement.
The city of Brockton sued, saying its students were being denied their right to an education under the state constitution. And it looked like Brockton was going to win. The legislature had to act before the courts did. The bill's supporters had two main arguments. First, that the state wasn't spending enough money on its schools.
Massachusetts ranks dead last in this country in terms of the percentage of our income that we spend on education. What you and I took for granted when we were children is simply not being offered to children today.
Second, that most kids, rich or poor, weren't learning the skills they needed to live and work in 21st century America.
Even our better suburban school systems are not doing well enough. 58% of the seniors in Wellesley could not reason, could not deal with English, math, science, or the social sciences at proficiency levels.
All of this set the stage for what came to be known as the Grand Bargain, the Education Reform Act. On June 18, 1993, Governor William Weld, a Republican, signed the deal that constructed the education world as we know it today. With that signature came a wave of money, $2 billion over 10 years. Plus, the money was distributed according to a formula that sent more money to districts with higher concentrations of low-income and immigrant students. But the money didn't come with no strings attached. It was accompanied by a battery of what the state called accountability measures. The first was the MCAS test. That bubble exam would measure student performance across the state, and lawmakers argued it would allow them to identify struggling schools and intervene if necessary. Another check, charter schools, some of the first in the nation. The hope was that they would be laboratories for new kinds of teaching and learning. But charter schools served another function. They put fear into traditional public schools. Mess up and your kids might leave for the place up the street. 25 years later, all those changes have won Massachusetts its national reputation. But here's the thing, the gap is still there. Lower income students still tend to earn lower scores on standardized tests. And now many schools say they don't have enough money to cover basic expenses. Brockton, Worcester, and other communities are considering suing the state again. And the 25-year compromise on charter schools is as tense as it's ever been. It makes you wonder, 25 years later, what was it all for?
This is somewhat like Alice looking into a little bit of a hole called education reform. Alice falls into this hole and free falls with no idea where she's going to land.